Alright, I'm back in my kitchen to make another batch of apple cider vinegar, and here I have my jar, and I have these two varieties of apples that we picked fresh from the farm, but I had it on my rack so it can ripen and have a higher sugar content. So this is a Mutsu variety, and this one right here is a Fuji variety, and they are more sweet than tart, and so a higher sugar content would mean I won't have to add any sugar to this mixture. Now here I have the apples just sitting on my spice rack here. And like I said, I did not refrigerate them because I want them to become ripened and have more of a higher sugar content, which would speed up the fermentation process when I'm making apple cider vinegar. So it's just literally sitting here in the basket of my spice rack where I have all my herbs and spices. I have everything just pretty much organized. Most of this stuff I grew in my garden, harvested them, dried them, so I can have them readily available for use. Now this here is just my decoration. These are corns that I grew this year. Also my cayenne pepper, which I just have it hanging here. I air dried it right here. And also I have some sage right from my garden, which makes a fun decorative piece for my kitchen. I also have some other stuff drying here, seeds that I'm collecting that I have in mesh bags. I even have more peppers here that I harvested late in the season, and they're here air drying. I have peony petals here, or flower heads, more cayenne pepper, just a bit of everything that I enjoy cooking with or making teas with or just making different creations in my kitchen. Alright, so back to the apple cider vinegar that I started to make. We have our apples and everything here already set up. I've already started slicing these apples. So we're going to use 2 jars. So I'm going to try to put the same amount of apples or close enough in each jar, the same amount of water, and cover it and allow that to ferment. And in 6 weeks, we would have apple cider vinegar. Now, because I've pre-sliced these before making the video, it started to have a little bit of browning, and that's quite okay. It's just from oxidation. So I'm gonna load these jars up, and the reason why I sliced them because I want as much of the apple flavor that I can get from these slices of apple. I have used it before where I've quartered them and made vinegar with it in that fashion, but this time I'm just gonna slice them to make this batch of apple cider vinegar. So I'm gonna separate the slices. I should have done that before I put them in the jar because I didn't cut right through the slices. So I'm just gonna separate them. And why I like making apple cider vinegar or any fruit cider vinegar for that matter is that I can use it multiple different ways. I get to feed it to my chicken flock to help them maintain good gut health. I use it in my cooking. I also use it to make salad dressings. I use it to make fire cider for building immune health. And I also get to use the SCOBY that will grow at the top of the jar to make kombucha. And that SCOBY can also be used in many different ways also. So it's an all-around beneficial creation when it's all said and done. Alright, so I'm just trying to make these 2 jars as identical as I can. It's not going to be exact, but close as possible. I'm trying to put the same amount of apples in there and the same amount of water. Now I'm going to add some warm water from my kettle, and I'm also going to mix in a little bit of room temperature water because I want it to be warm to start the fermentation process. And once this starts fermenting with the sugar content here of the apples, the yeast from fermentation is going to feed on that sugar and breaks it down to turn into vinegar, and then we'll have our bacteria growing, which is a healthy bacteria called a SCOBY. And from start to finish, I take about 6 weeks for this process to be complete. The apples here, as you can see, is floating at the top, so I'm going to take my weight and sit on top of the apples because I want it submerged. I'm probably going to add another one. And now I'm going to fill in the second jar with the water here. I'm going to do the same exact thing I did with the first jar, including adding some weights to it. And once this mixture here starts fermenting, I would come in and I will give it a good stir every couple of days to assist in releasing the air bubbles in there. And this is going to be done for the first couple weeks or so. Then you're going to notice that the activities in there starts to slow down quite a bit, and eventually it would stop. And you would also notice by that time that the scoby would have formed and started growing. So I'm just going to place this coffee filter here, and I occasionally remove it to allow the mixture to breathe because it's not as breathable as the material which I normally use. But this is it right here, guys. This is how I start my apple cider vinegar. I go ahead and put the date on it just to make sure I know what date I started. Here is some of the fire cider I have left, and it's time for me to make some more. So I'm gonna go ahead and make that vinegar. As you can see, there's still some sediments in the bottom from all the turmeric and all the other goodies that I put in there to assist with immune boosting. So it's necessary for me to continue to make these concoctions to maintain the body. This is all for now. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next upload.